Welcome to the Self-Growth Nerds podcast, where we help you embrace the most courageous version of yourself. My name is Marie, and I'm an adventure seeker who is obsessed with following the joy and creating more freedom. If you're eager for deep conversations, big questions, and meaningful connection, join me on the quest to discovering how we can live a more magical and memorable life. Hi everyone! Welcome to the first episode of the Self-Growth Nerds podcast. I've been wanting to record a podcast for years now as a massive podcast nerd myself, but I was letting all of the excuses win. You know how that is, I'm sure. Not anymore though. I'm here and I intend to have a Vlogbrothers level of commitment. Let's dive into today's topic. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I thru-hiked the PCT in 2019. The Pacific Crest Trail is a path that goes from the border of Mexico all the way to the border of Canada. It crosses California, Oregon, and Washington, and it's 2,653 miles long. When I came home after this, what do you think I missed the most? It's not the amazing friends I made along the way, although I missed them terribly. It's not the bugs or the wet feet or the amazing landscape. What I missed the most was the version of me who had a big, beautiful goal that lit her up inside, the flame. I missed the flame, and that's what I want to talk about today. I was lit up the moment I read Carrot Quinn's book, Thru-hiking Will Break Your Heart. On my trip across South Africa in 2017, I still remember the feeling I had when I was reading. It was a mix of this is magical and I could never in a million years do something like this. I believed that thought really hard. It was just a fact. A person like me doesn't do something like this. So I moved on. But the thought in my brain didn't. Actually, it turned into quite of an obsession. Without knowing, I was suddenly spending all of my free time reading about thru-hiking. It's all I could talk about with my friends and my family. I went hiking a volcano in Nicaragua with a friend of mine called Florence and a group of other eager tourists. There was about 12 of us and there was two guides, a local guide and a German guide who I think was on his first expedition. So we started hiking in the morning. Everything was going great. I was doing all right. And then a few hours later, I was way behind the rest of the group, alone with the German guide who was getting worried about my condition because I could only hike a few steps before I had to stop again, lean on a tree and try and catch my breath. I was having a really hard time. I told the guide, please can you tell me about your life or something so I would be distracted from all those thoughts in my head. So he said, well, I have 6 brothers and sisters. Perfect. Okay, tell me everything there is to know about each of them. And he was not really happy with me at that point because I don't think he was a very talkative person. So after just a few minutes, we'd heard it all and he was done telling me his life story. So I went back to my negative thoughts. I had tears rolling down my face. And I was thinking, I, of all people here today, am the one who wants to hike the PCT. How dumb. But fast forward a few years later, and as you know, I did the damn thing. I came home, my feet hurt for a month, and I guess I was proud of myself. I'd overcome all of my limitations. I was a dork who had done something impossible, but the pride I felt was nowhere near as satisfying as the flame I'd had lit up inside of me for almost 3 years. The flame was gone and I felt a little empty inside, occasionally warming myself up with the memories. I figured I'd start building my bank account back up with the graphic design contracts here and there and wait for the flame to strike again. Did I want to do another thru-hike? Not really. So I waited for a sign. I was looking forward to finding a new flame. And today, it's finally here. Or more accurately, it's always been here in me, but I am finally seeing it. I want to build a big, beautiful self-growth business that's going to help others embrace their most courageous self so they can create a more memorable life. Just talking about this lights me up. Before I tell you about this big vision of mine, let's go back in time and see where it came from and why it took me 31 years to own it. So, when I was growing up, my family and I would sit at the kitchen table and have long conversations about our feelings. This is one of the things I'm most thankful for about my upbringing. My parents created a space for my sister and I to express ourselves. The joke we had was that my sister, who was always more reserved than I was, would sit there quietly and watch for me to get emotional. And at one point she would go, "Oh, look at Marie, she's about to cry." And I would start bawling. I have always been in touch with my feelings, but trying to keep it together in the real world. That's why I loved theater so much as a kid and as an awkward teenager. I found a lot of joy in being on stage and in the spotlight. But somewhere along the way, I started judging myself. I decided it was shallow, it was attention-seeking, so even though it brought me joy, I put it aside as a shallow pursuit and a waste of time. I moved on. Now, I've been a lover of self-help books for a long time. I devoured them. Same goes with advice columns and podcasts where the host receives letters of people who have problems and are looking for solutions. I love these as well. But I have a hard time being honest about this. Somehow I feel like I'd be more worthy of love if I read classics like Moby Dick or listened to real podcasts that teach you things about science or history or something. But I don't want to read those books and I don't want to listen to those podcasts. I tried, just like I tried not wanting to hike the PCT, and it didn't work. What we repress always finds its way back to the surface. So I asked myself this question that I encourage you to consider. What is it that I, Marie, truly want if it was to work and if everyone was going to approve? And when I'm honest and fearless, the answer to this question is magical. I see myself on stage inspiring hundreds of people as an impactful coach. I see my books changing lives. I see myself leading a group of nerds like me out of their shells and into their bravest, most beautiful selves. I imagine a summer camp for grown-ups and their kids where we dig deep into emotions, where we explore the unconscious, where we open up, where we see each other for who we truly are and learn radical compassion. This stuff lights me up the same way that the idea of thru-hiking the PCT did. So I know I gotta go after it. While it's important to visualize the destination like I just did, you know what's just as important, if not more? Focusing on the next small step to take in order to move forward and not fall off the side of the trail. Been there, done that. I mean, I'm a number 4 on the Enneagram, and one of our downfalls is that we get lost in fantasy and forget to take action. When I was in 4th grade, my teacher and I had this little joke where he'd go, Earth to moon, do you copy? To bring me back from wherever I'd gone in my mind. So, back to Earth. A new flame is lit up inside of me. I am scared as hell, but all I have to do is focus on the next small step. I'm going to build this self-growth nerds community and business one brick at a time, just like a turkey in the oven, slowly but surely. I've never actually cooked a turkey. I'm way too impatient for this, and I know for sure that this dream of mine is going to test my patience and my ego. I'm going to fail big time along the way, but I'm excited about the journey. I'm excited to learn everything I can about coaching and business and the human mind. The same way I was excited about learning everything I could about thru-hiking, even though this seemed impossible. So, finally, and I'm going to end with this, I'm excited to have you on board. Whoever is listening to this first episode, you are the OG. I hope I can make a difference in your life. Thank you for being here, and I'll talk to you next week. But in the meantime, you can join me on the Self-Growth Nerds Facebook group, where I'm going to host the first weekly live workshop on this week's theme, or big, beautiful visions. I hope to see you there. You just listened to the Self-Growth Nerds podcast. I hope you enjoyed. We publish an episode every Monday, so make sure to subscribe if you want to be notified. I want to thank my friend Etienne Galano for editing this, and I want to thank you, kind-hearted souls, for doing the inner work necessary to grow into your truest self and make the world a better, more beautiful place. My name is Marie, and I will talk to you next week.